What if the highest paid person on a golf course wasn't even playing golf? In 2024, one man earned $5 million from the sport. He didn't swing a single club. He didn't hit a single ball. His name is Ted Scott, and his only job was carrying someone else's bag. Most people think sports works like this. The better you play, the more you earn. Talent gets the big money. Everyone else gets leftovers. But in professional golf, something very different is happening. The man walking behind the player is now taking home more money than most of the players. These are the shadow millionaires of golf. Ordinary men who found an extraordinary way to get rich. And their story will completely change how you think about money in sports. By the end of this video, you will face one simple question. Would you rather have the fame, or would you rather have the money? But first, before we get to the big numbers, you need to understand one thing. You need to understand how a caddy can go completely broke. So let's start with how the money actually works. The deal looks simple on paper. Every caddy on the PGA Tour gets a weekly base salary of $2,000 to $3,000. That's just your show-up money. Then comes the part that changes everything. If your player makes the cut, you get 5% of the check. If he finishes in the top 10, you get 7%. If he wins, you get the Holy Grail, 10%. Sounds amazing, right? But here's what nobody tells you. That weekly salary isn't profit, it's survival. Caddies are independent contractors. They pay for their own flights, their own hotels, their own rental cars. The player stays at the Ritz. The caddy books the Motel 6. Now imagine flying to a tournament. $800 for the flight, $1,000 for the hotel, $400 for the car. And your player misses the cut on Friday. You just paid $2,000 for the privilege of watching someone else fail. You are losing money just by showing up. This is high-stakes gambling with your mortgage, your savings, and your retirement. And you're betting it all on someone else's hamstring. But one man saw opportunity where others only saw risk. Before Steve Williams, caddies were completely invisible. Anonymous workers in white jumpsuits who handed over clubs and raked bunkers. Nobody knew their names. Nobody cared about their stories. Then came Tiger Woods, and everything changed. From 1999 to 2011, Steve Williams wasn't just a caddy. He was the enforcer, the man kicking cameras out of Tiger's face, protecting golf's biggest star from everyone and everything. And for his loyalty, he was paid like a king. At the peak of the Tiger dynasty, Williams reportedly earned over $1 million a year. In his native New Zealand, he wasn't just the highest paid caddy. He was the highest paid sportsman in the entire country. He made more than the All Blacks rugby captain. He drove race cars. He had endorsements. He was the first celebrity caddy. But money changes everything. When you start making CEO money, you stop acting like an employee. Williams famously said, "I earned this after a win," a comment that reportedly didn't sit well with the man actually hitting the ball. The relationship ended in one of the most brutal firings in sports history. No farewell, no handshake, just a termination that felt like a bad breakup. The Godfather had proven the financial model was possible, and the next generation took that lesson and completely supercharged it. When Live Golf launched, everyone talked about the players. Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka. The headlines focused on their massive contracts and Saudi money, but nobody talked about the caddies. And that's where the math got truly insane. In the old world, a caddy only ate if the player feasted. If Dustin Johnson took a month off, his caddy didn't get paid. But Liv changed the entire structure. Austin Johnson isn't just Dustin's caddy, he's his brother. When DJ signed a reported $125 million deal to join Liv, the trickle-down economics became a flood. Because Austin is part of the Four Aces team structure, he isn't just scraping for cut checks. He is part of a franchise. Reports estimate Austin Johnson earned over $1.6 million in a single season. Now consider this. The average PGA Tour player, the actual talent, earns about $1.5 to $2 million on a decent year. Austin made that just by carrying his brother's bag on a tour with no cuts. Suddenly, you didn't need to read the wind perfectly at Augusta to get rich. You just needed your boss to sign the right contract. But you don't need Saudi money to become a millionaire caddy. You just need to catch the right wave. And right now, one man is riding a wave bigger than anything we have ever seen. Meet Ted Scott. He used to caddy for Bubba Watson. They won Masters titles together. But when they split, Ted Scott was ready to retire. He was going to teach golf lessons. He was done with the travel and the grind. Then a young man named Scottie Scheffler called him, and Ted Scott made one condition before saying yes. He demanded a partnership, not just a job. That single decision turned out to be the smartest financial move in golf history. In 2024, Scottie Scheffler went on a run we haven't seen since Prime Tiger. He won the Masters, the Players' Championship, the Memorial, multiple signature events. Scheffler earned over $50 million in prize money and bonuses. Now do the math. 10% of the wins, 7% of the top 10s. Ted Scott earned an estimated $5 million in 2024. That's more than Jordan Spieth made, more than Ricky Fowler. For a stretch of the season, more than Rory McIlroy. He is making $5 million a year to give advice. No one analyzes his swing. No one critiques his putting. He just needs to keep his player calm, focused, and confident. He is the highest paid consultant in all of sports. But here's the catch. Ted Scott doesn't have a contract. He could be fired tomorrow with a single text message. And for every fairy tale like his, there is a very dark nightmare. A few years ago, a group of top caddies did something bold. They sued the PGA Tour. It became known as the Bib lawsuit. Their argument was simple. Every week, caddies walked the course wearing bibs covered in corporate logos. FedEx, Buick, Coca-Cola. The PGA Tour was selling advertising space on their bodies, and the caddies received zero from it. They sued for $50 million, and they lost. The court ruled that by signing the tournament registration form, they had already agreed to be billboards. The judge essentially said, if you don't like it, don't caddy. Think about that. The PGA Tour earns over $1.5 billion annually from sponsorships and media rights. Caddies wear the logos on their bodies every single week, and they see none of that money. No union, no collective bargaining, no legal protection. Even the millionaire caddies in the parking lot are still second-class citizens inside the ropes. The lawsuit revealed one uncomfortable truth. No matter how much money a caddy makes, the system was designed to keep them completely dependent. But the lawsuit was just the beginning of the dark side. Because what happens when your best friend fires you? That story is even more painful. If you watched Full Swing on Netflix, you know Joel Dahman and Gino Brunelli, best friends since childhood. Gino wrote a letter begging Joel for the job, saying he'd live in his car if he had to. They were the ultimate team. Every tournament was an adventure. Every success was celebrated together. Fans loved them because the friendship felt completely real. Then in July 2025, it was over. Not because Gino did anything wrong, not because he missed a yardage or gave bad advice. Joel was playing bad golf, and when a player struggles, the caddy is always the easiest thing to change. It's cheaper to fire your caddy than to fire your swing coach or your psychologist. So Gino was out. No severance, no 2-week notice. Just the end of a partnership that millions of viewers believed would last forever. Gino didn't hit a single bad shot. He didn't miss a single putt, but he lost his job anyway. Because in caddying, loyalty only lasts as long as the scores are good. You can be a millionaire on Sunday and completely unemployed on Monday. And yet, despite all of this, caddying might still be the best financial deal in all of sports. Here's why. We often pity the caddy. We see them sweating in jumpsuits, raking bunkers, taking the blame. But let's strip away the romance and look at cold, hard cash. An NFL rookie is one of the most elite athletes on earth. Massive physical punishment. Career expectancy of just 3.3 years. Minimum salary in 2024, $795,000. A top caddy on a good bag beats that by nearly double with 0 concussions. The average MLS player makes $500,000 to $700,000, running 7 miles per game, training every single day, risking career-ending injuries. Ted Scott made 10 times the average MLS salary by simply walking alongside someone else. Now let's go completely outside sports. The average neurosurgeon, someone who spent 15 years in school and literally saves lives, earns about $600,000 to $800,000 a year. A caddy for a top 20 player beats that by carrying a 40-pound bag and knowing that a 7-iron flies 172 yards. No medical school debt, no physical damage, no years of training. Just position yourself next to the right talent at the right time and collect your percentage. The financial return on caddying is completely insane, but something is now threatening the entire profession. And the players are starting to ask a very dangerous question. The money is bigger than ever, but the profession is under serious threat. Here's why. For decades, a caddie's expertise was completely irreplaceable. Knowing the wind, reading the greens, calculating the exact yardage. These skills took years to develop. Today, a 24-year-old with a smartphone app can provide the same information. Laser rangefinders, detailed greens books, advanced analytics. The calculations that once required decades of experience now appear on a screen in seconds, and the players are starting to notice. Some are quietly asking a very dangerous question. Do I even need a traditional caddy? Can I just pay someone $200 a day to carry the bag and keep their mouth shut? Think about travel agents. They used to be completely essential. Then the internet made their expertise available to everyone. Most of them simply disappeared. Caddies now face the exact same risk. The percentage model that created millionaires like Ted Scott might be coming to an end. If players decide caddies no longer justify 10% of their winnings, the entire financial model collapses. Future caddies might earn flat fees instead of fortune-making percentages. The Jenga tower is wobbling, and the shadow millionaires of tomorrow may never exist at all unless they adapt to what's coming. So if technology can replace the technical side of caddying, why are the best caddies still irreplaceable? Because Ted Scott isn't valuable because he reads greens better than an app. He's valuable because when Scottie Scheffler faces a career-defining putt on the 18th green, Ted knows exactly what to say. No app can look a player in the eye and say, "You've got this," with genuine conviction. Studies show that professional golfers under pressure experience the same stress hormones as soldiers in combat. The caddie's job is to manage that stress in real time. Think about having a trusted friend at work who knows exactly when to push you and when to back off. Who understands your patterns, your triggers, your fears. That relationship takes years to build. It cannot be downloaded from an app store. Steve Williams was valuable to Tiger because he was an enforcer. Ted Scott is valuable to Scottie because he is a calming presence. The human connection always transcends the data. And the players who replaced experienced caddies with cheaper alternatives often found out the hard way. The missing ingredient was never information. It was always the trust, built through years of shared triumph and failure. But is all of this worth it in the end? The final answer might surprise you. So let's put the full picture together. Zero security, zero respect, but infinite upside. For guys like Ted Scott and Austin Johnson, the gamble completely paid off. They walk the same grass as legends. They witness history from just 3 feet away. And they leave with checks that rival the GDP of a small island nation. But they never lift a trophy, never sign an autograph, never receive the glory that defines athletic achievement. And for every Ted Scott making $5 million, there are 1,000 guys sleeping in Motel 6 rooms, hoping their player makes the cut so they can afford a flight home. Now here's the question that matters. Choice A. You are the player. You get the trophy, the fame, and the legacy. But every missed putt is your fault. Every failure is public entertainment. Choice B. You are the caddy. You make $2 million a year. Nobody knows your name. You never sign an autograph, but you never miss a paycheck as long as you keep the boss happy. Tom Brady earned enormous money but absorbed enormous pressure. The caddy takes none of that heat. So which side of the bag are you taking? Drop Looper in the comments if you take the bag. Drop Player if you need the spotlight. Ted Scott didn't outwork Tom Brady. He didn't out-talent him. He just made the smartest partnership decision in sports history. He attached his income to someone else's inevitable success. And that reveals something uncomfortable about how money actually works. Proximity to greatness can be more profitable than being great yourself. The guy wiping mud off the ball can earn more than quarterbacks and neurosurgeons, as long as he's wiping mud off the right ball. The gamble that destroys most caddies. The Godfather who proved it was possible. The Saudi money that changed everything. The $5 million man riding the biggest wave in golf. And the brutal reality that loyalty means nothing when business demands change. This isn't just a golf story, it's a lesson about value, positioning, and risk. Sometimes the best seat isn't center stage. It's standing next to the star and collecting your percentage. If this opened your eyes, hit subscribe. Now tell us in the comments, Looper or Player, which side of the bag are you taking?